All right, welcome back to the Unnamed movie.
Didn't even say we were rolling yet.
I saw you hit the button.
Okay, all right, we're rolling.
Welcome back to the Unnamed Movie Car Podcast. We are now on Spotify. Please go check us out on Spotify as my dad adjusts my levels. I'm Zach.
And I'm Gary, and I'm adjusting the levels. And
we are recording at you live from the streets of America, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, all across America because we watched Cannonball Run 2.
You're like in a hurry on this one.
I have things to do today.
I know, but do you have a bunch of notes?
I have a lot of notes.
I have a lot of notes too. I have a ton of notes.
You have very little notes because it's on a Post-it note.
I have one Post-it note, and I'm not kidding. It's actually you can see this. It's actually a Post-it note.
For all the listeners, because we don't have video, and we apologize for that because we don't have a full-fledged studio. Even we spent all of our $151 million.
As you recall from the last episode.
we bought Tesla.
Yeah.
We bought a Tesla.
No, we bought
Tesla.
Yeah.
So we don't have money for a studio.
We don't,
yet.
and it tanked.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah. It is what it is.
So yeah.
We tried to
improve it.
Well, we tried to take Tesla and recreate the Geo Prism. And it didn't work so well. So
I don't know what happened there.
Yeah,
it was a
Geo
mystery.
Metro
that
as well.
That was a mystery. Yeah.
So literally right before we started recording, my dad pulls out a crumpled Post-it note and says, "Got my notes." And
hey, I rely heavily on you.
Every day you strive for closer and closer to going in a home. Every single day. I mean, you're starting to worry
I'm looking forward to going to the home. I'm looking forward to Jell-O every day.
I'm waiting for you to pull out like inch-thick glasses in order to read something, and then I'll know it's time.
They'll be here sometime. I do have a walker, by the way. So,
I know you do.
Yeah. In fact, I think I think we should call it the Paul Walker.
Wow.
Anyway,
you know what? That's probably the cleanest, nicest Paul Walker joke that has been said in years.
Okay, well, no, I think, it's the Fast and the Furious.
Shout out Craig Lieberman, Fast and the Furious.
Hey, wow.
Yeah.
Craig Lieberman already.
That was a good segue to
We're
Craig
only
Lieberman.
like 2 minutes into it.
We haven't even talked about what movie we're talking about. We are ADHD to the max today.
Hey, what's your name? Who are you?
I don't even know anymore. I'm Burt Reynolds, apparently. Because you go, oh.
I like your mustache. Oh, my goodness. Yeah?
Well, because you said that you had just gotten done watching Smokey and the Bandit, and I was like, that's not the movie we're supposed to watch.
No, did I say that?
The other day, and then you go, oh, yeah. And I was like, no, because of Burt Reynolds. It's
right.
Burt Reynolds easily mixed up.
It's just every movie.
It's a road trip Burt Reynolds movie from the 70s/80s.
Every Burt Reynolds movie is Smokey and the Bandit. I don't care if it's The Man Who Loved Women or if it's Gator or anything.
Gator.
It is Smokey and the Bandit.
Did he do The Longest Yard?
He did.
Yeah,
he did the original Longest Yard. So that was a...
so today we're talking about... Kind of.
What are we talking about?
The Cannonball Run 2, which is the 1984 film, directed again by Hal Needham, starring Burt Reynolds, Dom DeLuise, and Dean Martin, as well as many other cameos, guest stars, and side characters.
I thought you were just going to go on and on and on with all the characters like you did last time.
I don't have time.
Literally, wow, you were like in a hurry. What is going on?
We didn't even
slow down and enjoy life.
We didn't put the timer. we don't have a time. Normally, I put a giant timer on our TV to like kind of keep track. I have.
Do you want to
do?
Maybe that's
why I'm
pause.
speeding. No, I don't want to pause.
Wow, you are like
that's
you're in a hurry.
That's unauthentic. I want to be as authentic as possible.
Okay.
It's why I hand draw the thumbnails. That's why I edit everything. That's why
I handwrite my notes.
You hand wrote the notes on a Post-it note,
sticky note. Anyway, yes.
So let's get into
let's get into it.
Actually, before we get into it,
yes, what?
This was one of the driving factors of us starting the podcast.
It was
Cannonball Run 2.
Exactly. Which is funny, but go ahead.
Well, because we both watched the show The Good Place.
Yes.
Starring my celebrity crush and
which one?
Kristen Bell.
Okay.
Celebrity crush. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah, but the one who plays the other one.
Super specific, thank you.
Let me be vague.
Wait, who plays Michael from Cheers?
Oh, Sam.
What?
No,
there's no way.
No, it's not Sam. He played Sam in Cheers.
Right.
What is his name?
Oh no.
It's
Do I need to pull up the IMDb?
No, you could, I guess. But no, it was Tahani. Whoever plays Tahani.
See, I don't. She was very mean. I didn't like her as a character.
Really? Oh, okay.
Even throughout the whole series, I didn't like her as a character.
I thought she was okay.
Well,
I thought whatever that other girl character is really mean. They're all pretty mean. It's a very dark comedy, believe me.
It's not that dark.
Yeah, it's pretty dark.
Well, it gets dark for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Vamp. Blah blah blah. Why won't it show me the cast? Full cast and crew.
So
Ted Danson.
Ted Danson. That's what I said. I said.
You know
Ted
what?
Danson. I did.
Shout out to Ted Danson. Shout out to Ted Danson. We know he listens.
I like Ted Danson.
Ted Danson might be one of my favorite actors of all time.
Really?
He just seems like a guy I could get a beer with.
Yeah.
And just hang out with, and he seems genuinely nice. Anyway, so on the show The Good Place, it talks about heaven and hell.
Yes.
And there is a middle place where everything is very average.
Right.
All the colors are sort of bland. There's beer, but it's warm.
And it's an off-brand too. Like
it's an off-brand beer, but you have beer, but it's off-brand and warm. Basically, it's a whole. It's really just one house. But it's a middle place where everything is middle, and
just
the lady
average.
who lives there is only allowed to have the Cannonball Run 2 on VHS because it's a very middle movie.
Right. Right.
So that kind of we always joked about that, and so then that sparked us doing this podcast. Along with the Smokey and the Bandit Eastbound and Down song.
It did. Oh, and yes. And
Eastbound and Down versus Westbound and Down.
And that controversy. We've already talked about that.
Which we did in the previous episode. Go back and listen on Spotify. So yeah, Cannonball Run 2. We finally actually watched it.
Yes.
What do you think? Whip out those Post-it notes.
Oh my gosh. Where do I start? I mean, I
thought it started strong.
Did you really?
I thought the first 20 minutes, I thought, wow, this is better than the first movie.
Okay.
Because I thought they they fully embraced the comedy.
Okay.
It was more in-your-face, outrageous comedy, where the first one, it kind of felt like, are they being serious? Is this a serious action movie? Is this a comedy? I wasn't quite sure.
That is true. By the way, spoiler alerts.
Oh, yeah,
we
spoiler
should just
alerts.
say that at the very beginning. Just spoiler alerts all over the place.
Right.
But anyway, yeah. So is this a comedy? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, so Cannonball Run 1, the original, I always thought, I was like, is this a comedy? Is this an action movie? Are they trying to be serious? Are they trying to be funny? This one, I knew that they were being funny.
Yes.
It was very much in the same vein that like 22 Jump Street. Have you seen 22
I have not
Jump
seen
Street?
22 Jump Street.
They fully embrace the fact that it's a sequel, and they're like, just do the same thing over again. Like they're very like that. They literally say that in the beginning of the movie.
Awesome,
He's like, it's the same as last time. Just do it again.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
So I thought watching this movie, it felt like they kind of understood that this was just this was a sequel, that they weren't trying to reinvent the wheel, let's just say.
Exactly. No, I understand that point of view completely. This was, to me, probably one of the most self-aware movies that I've ever seen. Like, it knew it was a movie, but and everybody knew they were really
if there was just a couple times where the cast would have broke the fourth wall.
There was one.
Yeah.
But it would have I think more if they would have broken the fourth wall.
Yeah.
If it would have, that would have been more Deadpool like, where they just know that this is a vamp, it's a movie. It's like okay.
So here's the thing. Love the first 15-20 minutes of it.
Yeah.
Then it had a hard fall off for me. To the point where I started cleaning my room.
I totally understand that. I'm laughing because I absolutely agree with that. 110%.
I was cleaning my room. I've been looking for...
I think it forgot it was a movie and there was like something going on and should be something going on.
I
just drifted. Yeah.
Literally, I was cleaning my room and I remember looking up and I'm like, is this still going? So the back end of the movie is real fuzzy to me.
Is it?
Because I was cleaning my room. I did not care enough to actually sit down and watch this movie.
Well, let me tell you this. In the movie, I watched the entire movie.
Yeah.
It was fuzzy to me. So it wasn't because you missed something There was nothing there
Yeah.
to get. I mean, it was rambling. Okay,
Go through your notes because they're obviously shorter.
Well, my first note on the whole thing is not even written on the sticky note. My first note is my entire review of this movie is WTF.
Oh, yeah. I think you mentioned that.
Yes, the entire movie, WTF. Wow. Like, what the heck is going on here?
Okay.
Okay, so here,
let me walk me through your thinking.
Let me walk you through my sticky note.
Okay.
Okay. So first of all,
eggs, milk. Oh, shoot.
Wrong one. Exactly. I got to mow the lawn. Okay. So anyway, first of all, the race itself starts.
The Cannonball Run, yeah.
The Cannonball Run starts 43 minutes and 30 seconds into the film.
I agree with you. Here's the thing.
Okay.
I was disinterested by the time the race even started.
You're like, oh, there's a race? That's right. I forgot. There's a race going on.
There was so much unnecessary backstory.
So much.
Especially for a sequel, because we should know the characters.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the beauty of a sequel.
Absolutely.
Is that you can hit the ground running with characters that the audience already knows and loves.
Look at the Fast and Furious. You know.
There's no character development for 40 minutes at the beginning.
No.
They just jump right in.
43 minutes and 30 seconds.
I'm glad you timed that. That's insane.
Because it's nuts. When I went into that, I was like, okay. And usually what happens in movies is you have the very first part one, the very first part is the introduction to the characters, the natural world. But what usually happens is about 10 minutes into the movie, there's what's called the inciting incident. There's something that happens that, okay, you've disrupted the main character's world.
Right.
And then by about, I would say probably 25, 30 minutes into the film, you actually pick up and start moving, and the character has entered the second part of the movie, and their adventure and all of that stuff.
A great example of this, even though it's a movie you dislike, was the original Transformers. He goes and buys the car Bumblebee pretty quickly in the movie.
Yeah.
And then he sees it transform and turn into a robot probably 15, 20 minutes in.
Yeah.
Which sets the tone for the rest of the movie that turned into now like a 7-movie franchise.
Yeah.
So
and it's very, very normal for movies to have that kind of cadence where they say, okay, something happens and it disrupts the world of the character, and now we're going to, it's the plot point where we're going to spin into the second act of the movie. And, I mean, this is very classic for the layout of a movie. So, but that usually happens 25, maybe 30 minutes at the most into the movie, because you need time to build up the background a little bit. But, 43 minutes, I mean, that's almost twice as long as the normal intake for a movie to actually get into Act 2. So really crazy that it took that long.
Yeah, and I listen to a lot of stand-up comedians and stuff, like their podcasts and such, and they always kind of talk about how people will willingly give you a half hour. People pretty much don't care about a half hour of their lives.
No, that's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting to say that. Yeah,
you have to win, because they do hour-long specials.
Right.
They always talk about they got to get their hardest-hitting, best jokes off in the first 30.
Yeah.
Or people are going to turn it off and not listen to the rest of it. So you basically have 30 minutes to make a sales pitch in pretty much everything in life, I feel like.
Yeah, I agree. I
kind of have 30 minutes. Everyone always talks about the elevator speeches of like, or elevator pitch. You got 1 minute to pitch an idea.
True.
But I think in real life, you're given overall 30 minutes, and you kind of know within 30 minutes of meeting someone, 30 minutes of a restaurant, 30 minutes of driving a car, you kind of get a good grip of it.
I would say that, but I would say that there's different levels.
Of course.
There is that first initial 30 seconds or minute.
Right.
Where you go, I mean, there's sometimes when I meet someone I know in seconds.
Well,
okay,
yeah,
But, in the very beginning, it's like, okay, well, I'm going to, like you said, I'm going to spend some time in a movie. I'm going to spend some time. That's why usually the first 30 minutes is that setup and then the move into Act 1, because that's where you're making that decision.
That's your pitch.
And when people, they call them readers, read scripts, though, movie scripts for the big production houses, they usually only go into the first 10 pages, which is only 10 minutes of the movie.
Right.
So that's why, like what you said is with the comedians, that they have to give out some of their best stuff in the beginning just to be like, okay, stay with me. And that's the way that movies have to be. So that's why you should be, I mean, the first 10 minutes of a movie should really hook you. So getting back to this, it was like, okay, it was all right. The first, 20 minutes or so was okay. But then you started getting way into, I mean, it was like constant backstory before the race. Nothing's going on at all. People are like hooking up with other people, and it's just like, why do we need, and things in it didn't make any sense whatsoever. For instance, Dean Martin and Sammy Davis Jr. dress up as cops but drive a Corvette.
A C4 Corvette, which I do want to get into. Very interesting seeing sort of the emergence of the Corvette.
Yeah.
Because the C4 is kind of where a pivotal change in the Corvette, where it started to become
true.
more modern.
Yeah, that is true.
C5
yeah.
looks a lot like the C4, and the C6 looked like the C5. So I thought that was very interesting. But yeah, why did they dress up as cops?
Right.
They were driving a red Corvette.
Right. What was
why didn't they dress up like Prince? That would have been so much funnier.
Who?
Little red Corvette. Didn't Prince have a song about little?
Oh no, that's
wait, ready?
Jackson.
Have a name's Prince.
That's good.
Prince.
That's good. I like it. It's good. How you doing, E?
Sorry, only the dogs that listen could have heard that.
No, it's all good. No,
but yeah, I agree.
What was the deal with that? I mean, so that was bizarre. It was bizarre that they chose to be okay. So here's another thing. Totally didn't make sense. So Burt Reynolds is dressed as an army general.
Right.
Great. Fine. Dom DeLuise is like a private. Okay. Totally would not. I mean, that whole thing where he's driving around the general, and that whole idea of, this is a nuclear, nuclear car emergency evac thing. Okay, well, whatever. That was a total stretch.
Pause for a second.
Yes, absolutely.
Who won the first movie?
No one. They'd never say it. They never. So what?
So that's my point. So why are they using their same tactic of using an emergency vehicle to get across the country? It didn't work the first time.
Right. And
I think they just like playing dress up.
Well, and I think too, I think either they mention or someone mentions it about the fact that it won't help them. I think I think Dean Martin actually mentions it won't help you guys, dressed as, generals, because last time or it won't help that you get in a ambulance or in a car, that was a crazy car that they had, that military car that they came up with. That was
that limousine.
Yeah, the limousine was a weird car.
I have some notes on that.
Okay,
for
good.
Sure.
So so that was the thing. Where that didn't make any sense. But then they meet Gomer Pyle, on the road. They meet this guy who's supposed to be in the military, right?
Yeah.
And
which would have recognized a lot of inconsistencies if he because he was like a career military man. Like he had been in the service for years and years and years and years, an actual service member.
Right. So that's Jim Nabors playing like a Gomer Pyle type character, which he was very famous for, by the way.
Okay.
And so they're on the road, and for no reason at all, they ask him to be their driver.
Yeah.
To drive the car.
They could have just not.
There was no reason in the storyline, but it was like they were trying to cram the Jim Nabors, Gomer Pyle character into the movie somehow.
Yeah.
So they came up with this idea of having him drive the car for a while for no reason whatsoever. And then they just dump him in the middle of the desert.
Yeah. I would say it was to get closer to the girls that they picked up, the nuns.
Yeah.
However, they seem to have no issue getting close to the girls while driving.
Right. Exactly. Yes. And that's exactly right. And then that whole thing with them pretending to be nuns. Okay, I get the idea of in the beginning you pretend to be nuns. And there's actually movies like with Clint Eastwood, and I believe actually it was the same woman. I think it's Two Mules for Sister Sarah, something like that.
Okay.
Anyway, where this woman who's not a nun, clearly not a nun, she pretends she's a nun, and she gets help by this cowboy Clint Eastwood, whatever.
Yeah.
I have that totally wrong. Again, don't quote us at all with anything that we mention on this podcast.
Please don't quote. Yeah. As a matter of fact, don't tell your friends about this. Don't tell anyone.
Please, whatever you do, don't tell anyone about this podcast.
If you listen to this, listen on like a volume 2.
Yes.
And like get real close to your computer or phone. And just don't let any. And if someone knocks on your door, like you go like turn it off and go. What?
What? I'm
Nothing.
Sleeping. I'm
no,
sleeping.
I'm sleeping.
I'm sleeping.
Exactly. I'm doing drugs.
Yeah.
For some reason, telling
better.
your parents that you're doing drugs sounds like a better idea than
this
telling them that you're listening to the Unnamed
this
Movie Car podcast.
Absolutely. Please tell your parents you're doing drugs. Anyway.
So
let
us know how it goes in the comments.
Exactly. So so basically there's this whole thing where they're dressed as nuns, okay? And then and they think they're pulling it off, kind of, that they're pretending to be nuns. And then they go into a store to buy like groceries. Right. And then they come out, and the one woman basically just has underwear on and a top. And,
they change.
And they change. Yeah. And they took off their wigs, and they took off their head, the whole thing. And they come out, right. And they come out, and they're like, oh, well, I guess. And even the dialogue around that did not explain. Like, there was no explanation of why they just decided to change their clothes and just say, yeah, we're not nuns. It was just like that. That was the reveal. That was, yeah, we're not nuns. Yeah. We're not nuns. Nothing. Here's our, we're in kind of slutty clothes now, and here we're not nuns. That's it. There's also the idea of, Jackie Chan again in this movie, where they just gave him reasons again to stop at a gas station to beat up a whole bunch of guys, and
I do want to interject here for a second.
Fine.
Just because I have a trivia fact that is related to this.
Okay, fine.
From IMDb. Okay. We're not going to get fully into the trivia quite yet. That's towards the end of the show.
All right.
But from IMDb, it says Jackie Chan appeared as a part of a contractual obligation to Warner Brothers.
Oh, wow.
So he was
they had to throw him in there.
Yeah, they had to throw him in here in the movie, so that's why. Maybe some of his scenes probably didn't make sense, and were probably him being, if I have to be in this movie, at least let me kick some people.
Right, exactly. And then there's some bikers that decide that they're going to raid a fruit stand, okay, at a gas station, I think, and they start like throwing the food around or whatever, the fruit around and stuff like that. Well, then it appears that this Asian woman, we're not sure who what nationality really. He's like beating up all these guys, and she's like, "Oh, why don't you stay for dinner?" And he like falls in love with her immediately.
Yeah,
and she's
and then Jaws has to pull him away.
Yeah, and I'm like going, well, why don't you give this character in this movie? He's the throwaway character anyway.
Yeah,
why don't you just have him just go off with her and stay there
and be happy
The
movie.
Yeah, exactly. And go there and be happy and find his way in America, blah blah blah, and let Jaws, who is Richard Keel, I think, or
I don't remember the actor's name. I don't forget.
I don't forget anything. I don't forget names.
I've never forgotten a name, as we've struggled with every name on this podcast so far.
Ted Danson.
Ted Danson. I'm gonna scribble that on the wall.
That's going to be odd.
Yeah, a million times. And then whoever buys this house
weird.
They're
going to be like, Ted Danson, that's odd.
Right.
So,
it's not threatening. Yeah. It's just weird.
It's not. It's just odd. It's
one of the nicest actors.
Right, exactly. So, they, so I think it's Richard Keel, who plays Jaws in the movie Spy Who Loved Me. Mm-hmm. So, interesting fact.
Yes.
That Richard Keel plays Jaws in the movie The Spy Who Loved Me, which also had a car that drives underwater, which is exactly the car that he drives.
IMDb pointed that out as well. That was a sort of, which they play the Jaws theme song
Oh, do they?
Or some type of Jaws song when they are under the water as a nod to him playing the character Jaws in The Spy Who Loved Me with the underwater car.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So exactly. But that whole thing of them suddenly driving into the water didn't make any sense either, and then they blow up a fishing boat for some guys on it who had nothing. They weren't hurting them.
Could have been murder. Could have been murder.
Could have been.
I think they're fine for the movie. It's a comedy movie, but like
it is, but it's like
we could throw some charges on there.
I'm like, why are you upset at these guys? There's not even a reason in the movie for you guys to be upset at them. Like, it would be different if they like snagged him on the line or something and said, "Oh, you guys are two terrible people," and then they blow him up. Okay, that makes sense. There's a reason. No, these guys are just like in their boat fishing, and they blow him up.
Yeah.
Okay, so many things like that within this movie. Again, where I say, WTF, man? What? How did you come up with this? 3 people, no less than 3 people, wrote this movie.
Yeah,
they're credited as
really?
3 writers.
So this all passed all 3 of them.
3 writers. So, after I guess a couple lines of blow that they come up with, all
80s.
these. Yeah, I mean they come up with these 3.
Yeah.
I'm like, how did that pass 3 people? Or maybe they didn't even know what each other was writing, and they just kind of, it was like that game where you write down, a piece of paper and you hand it to the next person, but you only show them the last line. And then they continue the story after the last line.
Well, back in college, we used to have group writing assignments in this one class.
Oh, yeah.
I think I remember telling you this. We had one of the kids plagiarized one of his parts.
Nice. Good.
And,
great.
Subsequently, almost got kicked out of the university.
Okay. Well, there you go.
But we had these group writing assignments.
Yeah.
And
how do you plagiarize in a group? Never mind. Go ahead.
Well, so everyone had to write their own section, and then we put it all together basically into one Word document, and then submitted it. So like everyone was given a topic.
Yeah.
But the thing was, at least in our college group, we never proofread each other's papers.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Come on, we're college kids. We're hopped up on Mountain Dew trying to finish this stuff the night before.
Right. You're not going to do that.
So what ended up happening is we had to do a PowerPoint.
Oh boy.
Where we all had to submit our slides. And we didn't realize, because we didn't check each other's slides. I did my work. I'm done.
Right.
So we had to present the slides, and they didn't really have a lot to do with one another. so as we would switch presenters, I'd be like, okay, now we're going to talk about this, which is totally not related to what my first 2 partners described here in class.
That's what happens.
As we also reiterate or give different facts on the same thing.
Right.
But the script kind of felt like that.
I expect that in college. I don't expect that in a Hollywood movie.
That is a sequel, so the bar has been set. This wasn't like a one-time movie flop, although this movie did kind of flop.
It did. Oh, yeah.
It's not something you would expect from Burt Reynolds and our good guy Hal Needham.
Well, and it's even, I mean, you talk about weak, I'm sorry, guys, whoever wrote this, weak writing, but like, there was the shtick, okay, where the first time you see Burt Reynolds and Dom DeLuise, they're like a flying bomber. They're inside a bomb, and they're going to do this.
It's the human bomb.
It's the human bomb. They're going to do this crazy stunt. And, Burt Reynolds walks past the newscasters who have insanely funny large cameras.
Yeah.
Okay, like... And those are actually fake, by the way, because the way the guy was looking up into the camera, he was the viewfinder was completely wrong. Because I know back in the day, I remember
you were filming back in that time. Well,
I was
84. You graduated high school?
Yeah, I graduated in 84, and I was working as a basically a grunt, but I was working for a video production company.
Right.
So I know exactly what the equipment was like. That was a totally fake, like cardboard camera. Not only you could tell because, well, for a lot of reasons, because it was way too plain, not enough switches. But the other thing was it was just this plain white piece of cardboard.
Yeah.
He's also craning his neck to look up into the viewfinder.
Yeah.
Which you would never do cameras didn't have those. They were trying to be as comfortable and ergonomic as possible.
And
they
also,
had large viewfinders, but it was straightforward.
Right, but also you'd be looking up and fighting the sun one way or another.
Oh, absolutely.
Filming
and
outside and looking up to a viewfinder, you're either you're going to be looking right next to the sun, which would subsequently blind you.
Yeah. Well, here's the other thing: is back in the day, and this is a totally sidetrack thing, is those were tube cameras.
Yeah.
The tube cameras, if you pointed them at a shiny object or the sun, heaven forbid you shine them at the sun, you would actually burn out the tubes and say goodbye to a $40,000 camera.
Right.
You just fried a $40,000 camera.
Which people still think happens with like modern cameras.
Really?
Yeah, because in a Rotary Life episode, actually a recent one, I filmed some welding because we had to weld on a car.
Yeah, right, yeah.
And they're like, you should not be exposing your camera to welding. And I'm like, it's fine.
No, it's fine.
It's
I mean,
totally fine. Your eyeballs know.
No, your eyeballs should never. Yeah, because there are actual X-rays. But
right.
I think from welding,
gamma
or something,
Rex or whatever.
blah
Make me into the Hulk.
Yeah.
So if I stare long enough at welding, I'll become the Hulk.
Yeah, that's how it works. Do not do that, people. Do not stare.
Yeah, do not do that. Don't look at welding. Don't stare into the sun.
Yeah. So basically, that was a dead giveaway that thing was fake. So Burt Reynolds is listening to them, and the newscaster says that the guy who does this stunt will be surrounded by women. Okay, first of all,
what newscaster would say that?
Right, exactly. Well, that was my point.
Yeah.
What newscaster would say that? And then Burt Reynolds picks up on that, like he's having a really hard time with women. So he wants to, So he wants to be the one now to be.
I guess if he's not kidnapping them in ambulances, they won't want to hang out with him.
Right. So anyway, he goes and he tries to convince Dom DeLuise that he wants to be the one inside the bomb. He wants to do it. Well, the banter that they have back and forth is the most weak writing I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
Because it's this banter that drives me crazy, which is like one person will say something and the other person literally repeats what they're saying.
Yeah.
So it's like he says, "All right, now we're gonna fly in the plane," and the other guy's, "We're gonna fly in the plane." And the and we're gonna fly this thing and it's gonna release and you're gonna fly into I'm gonna fly into the target. I mean, it's the other person is completely.
It feels very stage production to me.
It does, and it feels just a completely unnatural, fake. It's annoying. I mean, there's that type of banter is just, I don't know if you can tell, really annoying to me.
Yeah, you really don't like it.
I really don't like it at all. So when
this was your pick too. This
it
movie,
was my pick, and I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
but it was what kicked off this podcast. So
that is true. We had to do it.
We had to do it, but
had to do it.
I was like, wow. And then so let's jump into Frank Sinatra. Okay. Frank Sinatra, the boss, whatever they call him, they call him the king, the boss, the man, whatever.
He plays Frank Sinatra, though, right?
He does. So Frank Sinatra plays Frank Sinatra. Now, if you go back and watch the movie, did you notice he is not in frame with anyone at any time? They literally shot him alone.
You are nailing these IMDb
really?
facts.
Okay.
Yeah, you really are.
Because I noticed that. I didn't even read that. I was like, oh my gosh, he was not even like on the same set as anyone.
He showed up to set hours early.
Oh, really?
In order to shoot his stuff.
Wow.
Because he didn't want to interact with most of the cast members.
Really?
Yeah.
And
we'll
Dean Martin and Sammy Davis Jr., they were the Rat Pack. They knew
right.
you. Yeah.
So what happened is that almost every single cast and crew member showed up that day, even when they weren't scheduled, in order to see the three of them together in person.
Gotcha.
And see them reminisce. So Frank Sinatra showed up extra early, shot his scenes, and then went on his marriage.
Okay, well, yeah, you could just tell. You could tell because literally there's not one shot where he's in the same frame as the other person.
Right.
And you see him from behind when you see the other people.
And the only reason he did the movie was because Sammy Davis Jr. and Dean Martin wouldn't shut up about how much fun they had with the first one.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I believe he was also the second billed actor.
Really? Oh, jeez.
He had 2 scenes.
Well, so he does. So
it was a needless shoehorn of a big name into it.
They shoehorned him in. So Here's where the big WTF happens.
Yeah.
Frank Sinatra, they have to have some plan to get into I think it's like the Pinto Ranch or something like that. Anyway, they're trying to get into that ranch.
Yeah.
It's so flimsy, the whole thing about money and the mob and all of that.
Right.
So what was the thing about having Burt Reynolds, Dom DeLuise, and Sammy Davis Jr. dress up as 3 harem women and do a chorus? I just did not understand why they did that. There was no sense. That didn't make any sense at all.
And it also it goes off of the annoyance that I had with the first movie, which is, hey guys, isn't this a race?
Right.
Are we gonna pull over? We're gonna stop. Hours don't seem to matter because it never becomes night.
No. It doesn't. Exactly.
Like, it's day for, 8 days.
Yeah.
Like, it's filmed in Alaska or something. But,
well, it is night when they go see Dean Martin, or when they go see Frank Sinatra. If you look out the window in the back, it's night.
But, anyway. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it doesn't.
The time of the movie doesn't make sense.
No.
But it's like, hey, guys, this is a race.
Right.
Oh, yeah, let's stop. Let's pull over, get into cosplay. Let's start.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Right. Well, not only that, then who are they saved by but the rest of the people from the who are racing against them?
Were they that far behind?
I don't know. And I don't know how those people knew where to go, how to show up, where to show up.
I doubt that place was a checkpoint.
Right. I doubt it, too. And then you had Charles Nelson Riley. That's like with the glasses.
Yeah.
And he's like checking out Sammy Davis. I think it was Sammy Davis Jr.'s rings and or something like that. He's checking out.
This really, this genuinely sounds like a fever dream.
It was. It was like you know, and that is actually what was written in the script. Is okay.
We'll figure it out when we get to set.
Right. Yeah. It's like, okay, so they do a bunch of stuff together and there's a big fight. And then there's like good guys and bad guys. And then there's the mafia. Now, the one thing I have to say this is the one thing I have to tell you.
Yeah.
In this, the one scene that actually made me laugh out loud, and this is absolutely true.
Yeah.
Is when they said, the first time I heard them say, yeah, his name is this is my son. His name is Don. So he's Don. So Don. I actually laughed out loud.
I genuinely laughed out loud in that scene too, but for a different reason.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Is when he's petting the dead cat, and he goes, "This cat is dead.
This cat
Give
is
me
dead.
another cat." And then he grabs another cat. That's not the part I laughed at.
Yeah.
He grabs the cat and he goes, "It's a tabby."
Right. Exactly. It was.
And then he goes, "It's a boy."
Yeah,
I laughed so hard.
He
at
lifts
that.
up the tail and he goes, "And it's a boy."
Yeah, it's a boy.
That was truly, in my book, the shining moment in all of these movies with Dom DeLuise. That was Dom DeLuise.
Dom DeLuise. Why does that name sound familiar?
Because he plays Captain.
Oh,
Chaos.
yeah.
They have him as the Don. Okay, he's the.
Wait,
Godfather.
so he plays 2 roles?
I believe so. If I'm not mistaken, you can go back and check. If I'm not mistaken, so Dom DeLuise, but it was.
That's like the hippie in Herbie.
Yes, exactly.
Okay,
yes,
interesting.
So the idea was that he's this mafia Don, and he names his son Don, so his name is Don, which is to me, the first time I heard it was absolutely hilarious, and I actually laughed out loud. That little bit of scene, if they could have extended that into the entire movie, that would have been a hilarious movie. Again, very self-aware, because when he talks, he goes, "Oh, this cat's dead." You know, I mean, it was like he's petting a cat,
like an obviously fake cat.
Yeah, it's obviously fake, and he's like, "Oh, it's dead." And then they get him another cat, and it's a tabby. And he's like, "Oh, it's nice, it's a tabby."
But it's in The Godfather where he's like, "It's a tabby."
It's a tabby, and it's a male.
Now that you say it, it's starting to really kind of make me think of like the Scary Movie movies.
Yeah,
where they incorporate, make fun of all the popular movies of the time, because we have Godfather references, we have James Bond references.
Oh yeah,
I'm sure there's plenty of other references that went over my head.
Yeah, but it was that precise quality. I think honestly, they probably let Dom DeLuise go, and that was his brilliance coming through.
Yeah.
And they left it in, and thank goodness they did, because it was the only really funny thing.
God, I really want to get to the trivia now, because I have some trivia on that
All
scene
right.
too.
Well, we can,
You're nailing the trivia.
If you want to talk about that, we can. There is one more thing.
Well, no, get through your notes, or else we'll never get through it.
Because this is a long list of notes here. The one thing is, did you see the blue RX-7?
No.
You didn't? You didn't see the blue RX-7?
I was probably counting the threads in my carpet at this point. When was it?
I don't blame you either.
Was it a first gen or second? Well, it had to be a first gen. Had to be a first gen because the second gen wasn't even out yet.
It was a first gen blue. Just looks exactly like Violet. Looks like your
my
RX-7. Looks like your blue RX-7. It is at 1 hour 43 minutes and 20 seconds.
Oh yeah, I was clearly clocked out at this point.
Yeah, I'm sure. But it's when they pull in at the very end of the race.
God, I gotta go back.
So 1 hour 43. I'll give you the note. 1 hour 43 minutes and 20 seconds. It's in the parking lot.
Where was this filmed?
I don't know.
Okay.
Why?
Well, not in Washington.
No, probably not.
My car spent most of its life in Washington, then went down to Dallas.
Well, you never know.
Houston. I was like,
that could have been your car.
How weird would that be?
That would be very weird.
That
would be very a nice tie-in.
Yeah.
To the Unnamed Movie Car podcast.
Yeah.
That you actually have.
I own a movie car.
You own a movie car. I saw it in there and I thought, oh, he's totally gonna get this one. I thought you were gonna start out with the hero car in this movie.
No, I was totally checked out at this point. So I booted up the movie and I was like, man, I hope they have another RX-7 in the background, because the first movie they had a white SA in the background.
Right. Yeah.
And I thought that, and then I'm like, I don't care anymore. So I just lost track.
So I'm done with my notes, my extensive notes on like half of a
Sorry, I didn't say that into the microphone.
3x3 poster. Okay, so let's go to your notes that are on a cool, fancy phone. Electronic.
So first of all,
yeah. Okay. Spit it out. Use
the guys
your words.
With the harems. What nationality is that? Was that Saudi Arabian?
Arab? The Arabs, yeah. Arabs,
okay.
yeah.
So the Arab grandpa also plays, or Arab dad or whatever.
Yeah.
Plays the grandpa from Spy Kids.
Ricardo Montalban.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I know him from is Spy Kids 3D.
Oh, he was. No, you know who that was?
Who?
He was really famous as an actor, but in other things. But he was the guy who ran the island in Fantasy Island.
I don't even know what that is.
So there was a long-running television show called Fantasy Island.
It rings a bell, but I couldn't tell you what it's about.
When it first started, it was awesome, and he was like, he ran the island, and he was like this cool, really suave, like Mediterranean kind of like character. He was great in that, and then he was, of course, obviously he was in Spy Kids too, but that was very funny to see him. He also was very famous for doing a car commercial. Do you know about that?
No.
Where he would talk about the rich Corinthian leather.
Oh, interesting.
And it became such a meme when memes didn't exist.
Yeah, like a joke.
A joke that people would say, "Oh, the rich Corinthian leather," and because of those, it was the way he would pronounce it.
Yeah.
The rich Corinthian leather. Cordoba. That was it. It was a Cordoba.
Cordoba.
Yeah. It was Chrysler Cordoba, maybe? I don't know.
I haven't even heard of that.
A Cordoba?
No.
Okay, wow.
I know Qdoba, which is like a
rip-off
of Chipotle.
Which is a delicious. Anyway.
It's okay. Qdoba's all right. I had it in Milwaukee.
I had one Qdoba when I was out in California. Anyway, so...
Qdoba's been around that long?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I think so. Okay. Maybe. I don't know. So anyway, Ricardo Montalban... I like Ricardo Montalban.
Me too. That was the first person I know. I was like, oh my god! Like
he also played Khan in the Star Trek movies. Khan!
Oh wow!
Anyway, so
very cool. Did you catch their family name? Falafel.
The falafels.
I was like,
wow.
that's like if you're making an American movie, be like, oh, this is the hot dog family.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. The hot dog family.
Wait, really?
We're the pizza hot dog family. We're the hot dog family. Yeah.
It's like, come on.
Yeah. It's like
whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
By the way, did you notice all the Italian names?
Yeah.
Oh my
I mean, I just chalked that up to like poor writing. I was like
lazy writing, poor writing. The Rigatoni family, the Masticcioli family.
Did I write it down here?
Did you? I don't know.
Well, no, something else. No, I didn't write it down, but I remember this. Oh, blatant racism in this movie.
Oh,
where the bartender,
all over the place, yeah.
Jackie Chan walks up and he goes, "Does anyone speak Oriental?"
Yes. That's right.
Like,
he says Oriental.
Yeah. I was like, lower your voice, my guy.
What does even Oriental mean? I mean, it's like
I don't even know.
It's not. Yeah, no, it's
bad. The white Countach in the beginning.
Yes.
Which I wrote here because I wrote these notes while watching.
Yeah.
I wrote white Countach - all caps, still no red one.
Yes.
They what was that? That was on the Countach.
Sour cream? I don't know because
it was like one of those like color changing T-shirts from the 90s.
Yeah.
It was like they sprayed water on it and the car was just red. But like it didn't look like it was covered in anything when they pulled in. It literally looked like the car changed color.
Right. So here's the thing with that. Okay, so they had a white Countach, right?
Yeah.
And I thought, of course, my favorite of all time, white Countach.
Oh,
yeah.
white's your favorite?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
I'd get it red, but go on.
Okay, so that's fine. But I was like, okay, because that was the first, like, anyway. So they're driving the car really fast again, beginning of the movie.
Same intro
as the first one. And they instead of crossing out the 55, they put 155.
Yeah.
Okay, ha.
Which they popped the door, and the door jambs were red.
Red, that's right. And I saw that, and I was like, what?
Did they respray a Countach for the movie?
Yes. And so that was my first reaction was, why is the interior of that car red?
I'm glad we both caught that. Yeah,
I know, we did.
Because the inner door jambs were red, which means like a cheap paint job.
Yes, exactly. So then they're driving along, and by the way, the banter between the cops is so unrealistic.
I wrote it down where
okay, good.
The descriptor was always great-looking chicks. Not a license plate. Not like a trim level of the car that it was a Countach LP 500.
Adam 112. We got
it's a Lamborghini. Yeah. Good-looking chicks.
Good-looking chicks.
That's all they kept saying.
Not too like that politically exactly politically
but
incorrect.
Also,
it's like
I'm looking at the Countach poster over your head.
Yeah.
How are they seeing through those windows?
That's right.
How are they even seeing
that
the two chicks are driving?
Exactly. Right. There's no possible way. And they're constant. And it wasn't just one cop saying that. It was
all of them.
All of the cops saying,
like over the radio,
there's hot chicks driving their car. And it's like, you guys are on the radio. You guys would probably all lose your job. I mean, that's like, you don't ever say anything like that. But
I guess it was the 80s.
But then, okay, so for me, just one other thing, though. Then they're being pursued by the cops. The cops lose them. Somehow they told the construction workers to spray their car.
Yeah, which also, if I was a construction worker and they're like, hey, hose down this Lamborghini, I'm like, absolutely not.
Right, like, no.
A rock chip and I have to forfeit my house.
Right, no flipping way. So they bathe the car in water and it turns miraculously from white to red.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Okay, that was cool that you did that, right? Then they get back on the highway.
And start messing with the cop again.
With the cop, what was the reason for changing the color of the car?
And then he's like, "Well, I lost the white one, but there's a red one. Passes me
with
great-looking chicks."
Yeah, exactly. Like what?
Yeah.
So, huh?
It doesn't make sense.
Exactly.
Whatever.
That was my whole response to the movie. Huh? What? So go ahead.
I wrote down Godfather ?
Yeah.
Crime families were all pastas.
All
Did you
pastas.
notice that?
Oh yeah, that's Rigatoni.
He's like
the
Rigatonis.
Right.
His son is Don,
which was my favorite part of the whole movie.
Petting a dead cat. I actually laughed out loud when he said, "It's a tabby."
It's a tabby.
I just thought that was so. Just that one scene is worth it. And
Absolutely.
then after the 5-minute mark, you can turn the movie off.
Not only turn it off and throw it away.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
You know my marker for a bad movie.
What?
Plane landing on a road.
Yes, and
Which
I told you that.
Which happens again in this movie.
I told you that in this movie.
A plane lands on the regular road.
Yes.
Although it takes right back off.
It does,
So-
but again, another useless reason to have a plane land on a road, because he's like, well, they're going to keep your car in customs for a couple days, and that's not, you're not going to be able to go to because they're transporting the car inside of a plane,
Right.
and they say the pilot is talking to, I guess, the owner of the car, and says, hey, Oriental guy, we're not going to be able, they're going to impound your car.
Their words, not ours.
Yes, their words, not, thank you. Their words, not ours. I'm using the colloquialism of the movie.
Right. Which is very politically incorrect today.
Absolutely. Chicky babies. And so
Jesus.
so they land on a road, okay, and the car pulls out, right, from the plane. The plane takes off, which is fine, okay, whatever. Then there's immediately police cars. Like, how did the police cars even get there or no? And then they're chasing after them, and they do this stealth mode with rocket engines in the car. And
right.
Anyway, jeez. Okay. I just think
we need a nice little breather here for a second.
I need to calm down. Hold on.
Just breathe into the microphone.
Okay.
Do some.
Just gotta. All right. Well, you just dropped. Yep. No, I just gotta take a. I gotta take a quick breather.
Yeah.
I gotta calm down because my watch tells me that my pulse is up really high. So.
We already talked about, but anyone
shout out
speak
to Garmin
Oriental?
watches. Yeah.
Shout out to what, Garmin?
Garmin watches. Yeah. Just because they wanna. I know they wanna.
They've been trying to sponsor this podcast forever, and we say no. The last thing I have written down is the monkey flipping off.
Yeah, the monkey.
Well, the monkey overall. We just skipped over the fact that there's a monkey chauffeur in the movie.
Talk about animal cruelty. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah,
that's not right.
They probably bolted that monkey in or something, or just beat the snot out of him until he...
There was so much wrong with them using that.
That same monkey, though, is also in a different film in 1981. Some monkey film.
Wait a minute. Was that...
Not Planet of the Apes.
No. That was what was the movie?
If I knew, I would have told
Right
you.
Turn Clyde or whatever, I think is what
something
he says.
back in the early 80s.
Yeah.
It's the same monkey actor. Who's probably made more money than I've ever made. But
true, but that was so cruel. It was
very
so cruel to have him. Anyway.
So basically, in the movie, there's a kind of limo.
It's a limo
where there's a monkey chauffeur. You later find out that they're driving from the inside.
Yes,
but
and it makes it look like the monkey.
It look like the monkey's the chauffeur, and it's sort of like this gag trick, whatever.
Right.
Terribly horrible. Not even like as a joke, like haha, yes, that would actually be very cruel to do to a monkey.
Yeah.
But then to film this movie, they
Yeah.
had to do it to a monkey.
Yes, and it was the entire movie. They have this monkey driving the front in the car, and it's Ted Danson from Taxi. Ted Danson went on to do a whole bunch of things, but
Ted Danson? What?
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 No.
You got that name horribly wrong. I was looking at you like, no, Ted Danson wasn't in this movie.
No.
God, that's a moment I wish we had on video because my face was just dumbfounded.
No, what was his name? What was his name who played the Who's the Boss? He plays the guy in Who's the Boss. Okay, this is going to bother me now.
Well, whatever.
Anyway, he was Angela. Anyway, not going to remember. So, but not Ted Danson. Just
not Ted Danson. Ted Danson
anyway,
has
but
no
he's in this movie.
affiliation with this film.
Climbs over this thing. They made fun of. I know the actor actually made a career of not being able to talk properly, like it's stuttering. But here's the thing: is that I mean I understand and get that, but like you don't make fun of people for that. That's just not even. That's not cool. So yeah, so many things in that.
Right.
But getting away from this whole thing, there was a gorilla, or not a gorilla. I think it was actually.
I think
an
it was a
orangutan.
chimpanzee.
It was either. Well, I don't know if it was a chimp. I think it was an orangutan. I want to say it was an orangutan.
Okay.
But anyway, primate.
Right. Yeah.
It was a monkey basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just really really cool, and they spread it throughout the entire movie, and there was all these things about it, and then the monkey flips off an old woman, and then the old woman drives a car through like
unnecessary. Why couldn't she have gone into a ditch? She drove into the front of a store, and then the clerk is like, "How can I help you?"
Right. And she flips him off.
Yeah.
Like, you just crashed into my store.
You just ruined my business.
Right. You just exactly. Yeah. So yeah, I mean that is the kind of thing. Yeah.
That is the last of notes that I had. We'll get into the cars. We'll get into the trivia, and we'll get these people on their merry way.
Yeah, we're at 54.
54? Okay,
yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So, first of all, in 1981, Imperial Limo.
Oh,
that's the limousine that we have some trivia on later. That Burt Reynolds drives, the military.
Oh, okay. Oh,
thing.
Is that the military one, or is that the limo with the monkey?
That's the military one.
The Imperial?
My phone keeps changing formats on me.
Yeah.
A 1981 Imperial Limo.
What maker? What?
Chrysler.
Oh, Chrysler
Imperial.
Okay.
Okay. 1983 Lamborghini Countach Lp 500, the one in the intro to the movie.
Still one of my very favorite cars. There's no doubt about it.
Oh, of course.
Cool car.
This one was an interesting pick. The 1983 Mitsubishi Starion. Which is Jackie Chan's car.
Yeah, I was wondering which one. I was hoping you would look up that one because I didn't know what it was.
So over here, we did get the Mitsubishi Starion, but we also got the Chrysler Conquest.
Okay.
Which was the exact same car.
Oh,
just
really?
Sold under Chrysler. Yeah, panel for panel, same car.
Wow.
Which was really the start of DSM, which is Diamond Star Motors, which was a collaboration between Mitsubishi and Chrysler. Out of that, we got the Mitsubishi Eclipse of the 90s. Out of that, we got pretty much the Eclipse is like the biggest one. We got the Eagle Talon, which was essentially it was a rebadged Mitsubishi Eclipse.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, which we on the show, we hate Eagle Talons.
Yeah, exactly.
Mainly just the people who drive them,
right,
but also Eagle Talons.
Well, there's a specific... Okay, so one person.
Yeah, there's
who drove one. Anyway.
Person that we hate that had an Eagle Talon.
Yeah, exactly.
But we had an Eclipse for a little bit.
We did.
Which was the Eclipse that we had was very much towards the end of
couple days.
What?
Couple days. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah.
We did, but that was at the end. So the Eclipse.
The Starion was cool for sure. 1984 Chevy Corvette, which was very cool to see a C4 Corvette.
Oh, that's right.
Like
that
I said,
was
this is sort of the breakout for the modern Corvette, the modern
and it was a totally useless. I mean, it wasn't useless. The car wasn't useless. It was cool. They should have done something cool with the car.
But then again, this was a V8 that made 180 horsepower.
Okay.
Which at the time RX-7s were making 110. They weren't that far off.
Okay. All right.
I mean, like,
yeah, that's true. That was pretty.
These were lopey, lazy, throaty V8s that sound mean but can't really push anything.
Good.
The 1984 Dodge Daytona Turbo was interesting. Frank Sinatra's car.
Yes.
Very interesting there. Very weird pick for Frank
Sinatra.
You would think of like
Frank
Sinatra, old blue eyes, very. Excuse me. Geez.
Yeah. Sure.
My soul just came out. My burp.
Yeah, that was weird.
You would think of something more refined. You would think he would get the next car, the 1957 Mercedes-Benz 300 SL Coupe.
Yes,
but
right.
he did not get that.
That was a weird. You're right. It was a
Daytona.
very odd choice. Anyway,
and we'll talk about it in the trivia.
Okay, all right. All right.
So 57 Mercedes-Benz, always cool seeing gull-wing doors.
Oh yeah. That was very cool.
But the last one was the Nova Sterling. So that was the car where the windshield came up. The whole cockpit came up.
Oh, yeah, right. Exactly. Well, which is another thing, by the way, I'm going to get back to that about the women stealing all the cars. But go ahead.
Do you know what that was?
No.
Do you know anything about that car?
No.
That's a Volkswagen Bug kit car. So Sterling Motors,
really?
They only made a couple of them, but it was a kit car that you would buy.
Okay.
And it was fitted to a Volkswagen Beetle chassis, just like the Dune Buggy, just like pretty much every other kit car ever.
Yeah. A bolt-on.
There was an experimental one that had a Subaru Boxer flat engine in it.
Okay.
So kind of like a Porsche, essentially.
Okay.
But that's
All
it.
Right.
They sold them basically very short, and they never really took off, and they're super rare. I mean, super.
Yeah.
We're talking, these make Panteras look common.
Really?
Yeah. And we've only seen that one Pantera in person.
Right.
But yeah, so I thought that was really interesting. That was a Volkswagen kit car.
I had I had seen that car once before, but I didn't know where. Not in person. It was in probably the Kid Car magazines that I used to get. But I did remember seeing that. I don't know if it was an ad or something somewhere. But I did. So, yeah, because I remember that the whole cockpit lifted up, which was really a crazy design. And then, and then the gull wing doors, like you said, that was a cool thing to see again. It was always fun.
So we'll finally get onto the trivia.
Okay, all right, good.
There's quite a few trivia facts in here.
All right, let's go.
But so I'm very excited to get into it. This is pulled directly from, but what do I normally say? Pulled directly from, but in no way sponsored by IMDb.
Yeah. I thought you'd have it down by now. We're like on episode 85 or something.
Yeah, I think this is 19.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Frank Sinatra's Cameo was his final acting role in a theatritrical movie.
What?
He would go on to guest star in a couple TV shows like Magnum P.I. and Young at Heart.
Gosh.
But this was his final theatrical movie.
Wow, I'm so sorry, Frank Sinatra, that you went out in that way. Wow, that this was your last movie. Holy
Not
cow.
the best.
No.
This was also the final of the 1970s to 1980s action car stunt comedies by Burt Reynolds.
Oh.
Which is so so specific.
Yeah, that was very specific.
These films included Smokey and the Bandit, Cannonball Run films, as well as Stroker, Ace, and Hooper. Which the reason I wrote this one down was because maybe we should look into those movies as well.
Yeah, this is the all Burt Reynolds car movie podcast.
Burt Reynolds fan club. And I promise you, when we get video going, we'll get mustaches to suit. That's a promise.
That is it.
According to Hal Needham, the day that Frank Sinatra showed up on location to shoot his scene in the Dodge Daytona Turbo, talking to Dean Martin and Sammy Davis Jr. This isn't a full sentence. Almost every cast member, even those who were not on call to be set, came on set that day to see Sinatra, Davis, and Martin, the Rat Pack members, reunite and reminisce.
Yeah.
So basically, like I said earlier, pretty much all the cast and crew showed up just to see that.
Oh,
I would too. Yeah,
I would too. I would not doubt that. I mean, that was probably one of the last times that on a set.
Right,
that Rat Pack ever was
for
together.
A movie, it was for sure the last time.
Oh,
so,
true.
Which the Rat Pack apparently had made movies together before.
Yeah, it was like obviously the predecessor to the 80s Brat Pack, but the Rat Pack was like Frank Sinatra,
Sammy Davis Jr.,
Dean Martin. Who else?
I think that was it.
No, there was a couple other people involved, but they were lesser known. But anyway.
Next up, Frank Sinatra received second top billing after Burt Reynolds in the closing credits, even though he only had a small cameo role and appeared in only 2 sequences.
Yeah, that's true. It's only 2 sequences. You're right. It was only 2 sequences.
This one is I'm going to skip this one and go to the next one real quick.
All right.
So remember how I said that the Dodge Daytona Turbo was a weird pick for Frank Sinatra?
Yeah, what was that all about?
The 1984 Dodge Daytona Turbo Frank Sinatra is driving in the race was one of Frank's personal vehicles that he owned.
What?
Which is a twist that I did not see coming.
He owned a Dodge Daytona Turbo. What?
That's like finding out that, like, I'm trying to think of like a big movie star. Who's a big movie star right now?
Let's just say Brad Pitt.
That's like finding out Brad Pitt has a Ford Fiesta ST. It really is.
And maybe he does, and that's cool.
Like,
whatever.
I'm sure the Daytona Turbo was a good car. Fiesta STs are good cars.
I had friends that had Daytona Turbos. I mean, that was like it's like saying, Brad Pitt drives a Pontiac G6.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, it was like that was not.
You just
not
don't. It's very odd. But so
really,
I thought that was a
really
fun
odd.
little yeah.
No, I appreciate
Frank
but it's
Sinatra
really odd.
owned that car.
He must have been proud of it or something. He probably
guess.
rolled up that day in
I
it.
doubt that was his only car, so why
sure.
he picked that, I don't know.
No, he should have been in a more classy car. That was
so
stupid.
Next up, Sir Roger Moore later regretted his decision turning down the role in this movie. after finding out that Frank Sinatra was appearing.
Oh, wow.
In Sir Roger Moore's autobiography, he states of this, "Regrets, I've had a few, but too few to mention." Meaning that one of the picking up this movie was one of his regrets.
Yeah, he actually, Roger Moore really had a charmed life and really appreciated that, and he also was very kind to everyone.
Yeah.
He enjoyed what he did. You could tell in his movies, especially the James Bond movies, he just really had fun with what he was doing. So, yeah, I mean it's cool that he said that. But again, it was probably he probably was upset because Frank Sinatra, that would have been pretty cool. So,
the Mitsubishi driven by Jackie Chan and Richard Kiel.
Yeah,
who
did I say
Jaws.
that? I don't even know.
I don't remember if we said that or not. I think we just kept saying Jaws.
Maybe I said Richard.
Ted Danson.
I probably said that.
The Mitsubishi that they drove into the lake.
Yeah.
And they recreated the Lotus Esprit from The Spy Who Loved Me, 1977.
Yep.
That changed into a submarine. While underwater, the theme from Jaws was played that referenced Richard Kiel's character Jaws from The Spy Who Loved Me and Moonraker.
Yes.
You didn't say that. You forgot that he was in Moonraker.
I didn't say Moonraker. He was in Moonraker, but he wasn't in an underwater car in Moonraker or anything like that. He was,
James Bond aficionado.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
come on!
Next up, Jackie Chan appeared as a contractual obligation to Warner Brothers to be in this movie. We already talked about that.
That's okay.
The car used by Jackie Chan in this movie is a Mitsubishi Starion, sold in the United States under that name, but more commonly known as the Chrysler Conquest.
Dodge Daytona.
What?
Dodge Daytona.
I don't. It might have been sold under the Dodge name too.
Oh, really? It could have been.
And Plymouth as well. I think it was one of those cars that got rebadged
one of those.
A couple times.
Right.
Okay. With only trivial exceptions, the ones sold in domestic dealerships differed from the Starion in name only. Within the last few years, the car Chan used in the movie was salvaged and restored by a member of Star Quest Club, which is the Starion Club.
Oh, okay, cool.
The National Owners Club for Starions and Conquests, and is now roadworthy again.
Wow.
So the screen-used car is actually floating around somewhere.
That's pretty cool. I like that.
Starions and Conquest Club.
I didn't even know there was such a club.
Oh, there's G6 clubs.
Yeah, well,
and I'm a part of them, and they're horrible.
Well, I'm not gonna throw shade or anything, but it's
Oh, I will. They're disgusting.
Wow.
They're bad.
Yikes. Okay.
I did join the Mazda 3 club recently on Facebook. Not that bad of a group.
Okay. Well, yeah.
So this one's about the limo. This trivia fact.
Okay. All right.
So the stretched Chrysler Imperial limousine was stretched by 36 inches.
Okay.
And was driven by Burt Reynolds. Was converted by ASC, or American Sunroof Corporation, outside of Detroit, Michigan, using the front doors from a 1979 to 1981 Dodge St. Regis sedan.
Okay, yeah.
This limousine was used in Reynolds' previous movies, Sharky's Machine and Stick, in 1985.
Really?
Yeah, it was just repainted for this movie.
Wow.
Frank Sinatra had a similar limousine converted by the same coach builder, which is still owned by the Sinatra family.
Huh.
Which is interesting.
All right, shout out Sinatra's.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know where they're at.
Or whatever, yeah.
Probably New Jersey.
Yeah.
Jill and Marcy drive 4 different cars in this movie.
Yes.
All 4 of which have different types of doors.
Oh, interesting.
Lambo doors go up. Gullwing doors
go up to the side.
Go up in the side. The Nova has the cockpit come up.
Right.
And then they have that tow truck, right?
Well, a tow truck, would be regular doors.
Regular doors. So, 4 different kinds of doors.
Yeah, that's kind of
interesting.
That is kind of interesting. That's kind of cool. Yeah, go ahead.
Burt Reynolds said in 1982, a couple of years before this movie, that he wasn't going to make any more car chase movies.
Really?
Well.
Okay. Yeah.
Here we are.
Yeah.
At the end of another Burt Reynolds car chase movie.
Right. Yep.
This one is very interesting.
Yeah.
And probably my favorite trivia fact.
Okay.
Wow, you sound so excited.
No, go ahead.
No, I don't want to say it anymore.
Oh, come on. I just say.
Marlon Brando was supposedly approached about playing an unknown role in the film, presumably a mobster.
Right.
But wasn't interested. Although the film wasn't critically well received or a box office success, he later regretted not taking the opportunity to parody his image and show that he had a sense of humor like some of his other cast members did. Eventually, he got the chance to do this in the film The Freshman in 1990. But it's very interesting that
it's interesting, yeah.
he kind of wanted to show off that he has a sense of humor because he's known for playing the Godfather, which is
very
such like
serious
a menace,
roles.
very serious roles.
Yeah.
That's like that reminded me of like Bryan Cranston.
Yes.
Who plays Walter White, one of the most serious roles of the last decade.
Right.
But Bryan Cranston is one of the funniest actors.
Oh, he's hilarious.
If you see him in anything else, he's so funny.
Well, that was the thing. When I first started watching Breaking Bad, I was like, wait a minute. This is the guy who's the dad in Malcolm in the Middle.
Right, yeah.
And I'm like, well, how can this guy be? And then I watched it. I was like, holy crap, this guy's really good.
It's a different guy. It's
totally
a different guy.
Well, he does such a great acting job. And then... yeah, after that, I was like, oh, Bryan Cranston could do anything he wants to do. He can do comedy.
Yeah.
He can do
and then if you
drama,
watch...
anything.
If you watch Breaking Bad bloopers, it's so funny because he's like this serious drug lord.
Yeah.
And the camera's cut, and he's like messing with things on...
oh, really?
Messing with things on stage or whatever. Not on stage, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, on the set.
He's like, he's cracking jokes. Yeah. He's making people crack and laugh and... it's just so great. It's really great seeing that in an actor. So
he's one actor I'd like to meet.
Yes,
there's very few actors I'd actually like to meet. He's one of the actors I would like to meet because I think he would be a fascinating person. Definitely would like to share a beer with them and have a beer and just talk about everything.
Yeah. The one last trivia fact here. The movie's director is seen Hal Needham driving the Porsche 928 wearing a cowboy hat. So he makes a small cameo.
Oh, okay.
And I really only picked that out because I saw a Porsche 928.
Okay.
So
yeah.
That's it for this movie. With trivia, with our anything else you want to add?
Wow, that's a quick one today. We're at an hour and 11, so
that's not. We've usually been doing like an hour 20.
All right, okay, all right, we're fine. But yeah, no, I think the one thing that I wanted to add, which was kind of annoying to me, which was this thing. It was a they did this thing. It was a repetitious thing they did over and over again, which was the two beautiful women that drove the Lamborghini.
Yeah.
Every time, in like everything, they were constantly zipping up and zipping down their jumpsuits.
Oh, yeah.
Always. And it was like, okay, we get the joke in the first movie with Adrienne Barbeau.
Yeah. It's
okay,
like, come on.
Yeah. You know, the first time she does it, you're like, oh, okay. And then this is like, okay, what is this, part of the something you do every single day all the time? Is it just...
That's too much work.
Exactly.
Your zipper's broken? Like
I was going to say, is your zipper broken?
I wore a pair of pants out of the house the other day that I forgot the zipper was broken in.
Yeah.
And like I went to go play pickleball with some friends. And
is this for real?
Yeah, this is a real story. This happened the other night. I actually took the CX-5 because it was parked in the middle of the driveway.
Oh.
Okay. Full story. I went to go drive the Model A that one night, and it kept stalling on me. So I pulled it back in, and the CX-5 was on the street, and I'm like, I have to pull it in anyway. So I just took the CX-5 to go hang out with my friends.
All right.
And I got there, and my zipper, like literally, I would move an inch, and it would just fall right back down. It was terrible.
You're kidding.
It was terrible. It ruined my whole night.
Awful.
I was there for like 15 minutes. I'm like, I'm going to leave.
Really?
Yeah.
That was terrible. That's awful.
No,
I hate that. Yeah.
But apparently that was happening in this film.
In this film, they were having problems with the zippers. And it was like they literally stole every car.
Yeah.
They stole every car that they had. Stole.
You said stole at first.
I did not say stole.
I think you did say
stole. You want to
stole.
go back and rewind this?
I will go back. What minute are we at?
We are at 1:13:09.
Wow, 113, our lucky number, and you said stole.
I said stole.
Whatever.
I did say stole. I say it wrong all the time.
Sure.
Words are meaningless. Okay, so
no, it's fine that your job literally revolves around knowing the correct words, but it's fine.
True. That my whole life is
but
words.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of a stupid.
Well, it was annoying.
Gag.
It was annoying, and it was a gag, and it was annoying and stupid gag that repeated constantly.
It's like you couldn't think of anything else.
What?
Really?
No,
in the movie. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. True. I thought you were saying that to me that I couldn't think of any other trivia about the movie. No, that was the fact is that they stole the car. Man. Okay.
Stole. Not stoled. No, you did. You said it right the last time.
All right, so they stole the car.
First time. Yeah.
But they stole the car, or they stole the Every
Maybe
car.
that's what I heard. Maybe you're rolling the into stole. You're an auctioneer now?
Hey, sold. So
They stole every car.
They stole every car, and they always promised the guys a night that they would never remember or never forget.
I like that idea of hey, you're going to have a night you will never remember. Ever. As long as you live, you'll have no recollection. Okay, sign me up. Here's my car.
I guess that would be one heck of a night if you could not remember it at all.
So.
And I guess it's not enticing to not be able to remember that night. So anyway, but that's pretty much it. So that's probably enough from me. So your take, would you change the channel?
I pretty much did change the channel. I could not tell you what happened at the end.
Yeah, it's
I had to clean my room. I got
You
things
need to look up that car though, so you can see your car in the movie.
Yes, yeah,
but
yeah.
you're right though,
because there's two different blues of the FB.
Well,
I'm wondering if it's my same paint code.
I don't know, but the movie ends terribly.
Yeah.
Because because just like the rest of the movie, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. They have to, that they were bucking for a sequel, because at the end of the movie, they're told that the race didn't count. The race didn't count, so they're going to have to race again. They're going to have to get up in the morning and race back again. That was supposed to be, I think, their intro to the next, I was going to say Smokey and the Bandit. So,
jeez.
No.
So, long story short, I would change the channel. I wouldn't even entertain the fact. Unless they hadn't gotten to the Godfather scene yet.
Yeah.
If it's within the first 15 minutes and I could see that Godfather scene again, and then I'd immediately change the channel. I'd probably shoot the TV with a Desert Eagle.
Wow. Wow, that is like,
I'm just kidding.
You went right to
0 to 100 real quick.
Yeah, so you would change the channel?
Oh yeah, I'd change the channel. Would you?
I probably here's the reason. I probably would not change the channel, only because I wouldn't realize it was on. That is how boring.
You would just assume you're having a fever dream.
I would just assume that
you'd more quickly try to wake yourself up than change the channel.
I
gotta get out of here.
I gotta get out of this dream.
Sammy Davis Jr. isn't making sense.
Yeah, exactly. The whole thing. No, I would probably not even realize it was on. I would definitely not sit down and watch it. Although, like you said, if it was around that scene with the Don and the mob thing,
just to hear him say Don.
To hear him say Don the first time.
Good.
The first time I heard that, it was hilarious enough that I actually laughed out loud, which is rare.
It was almost
a
second gear laugh for me. I
Really?
almost hit second gear.
Oh, okay.
We've been joking with that with my friends. We're like, you're laughing, and then you go to a higher pitch.
Okay.
You know when that happens? When it's like a real belly laugh? We call it a second gear.
Okay.
And
a second gear laugh.
I almost got a second gear.
You heard it here
laugh.
first. We are trademarking.
Yeah,
trademarking
the second gear laugh.
Trademark.
If you hit third gear, you might die. But I wasn't a fan.
No,
I wasn't a fan, which is sad because this is the movie that kind of
kickstart.
Yeah.
I think it was actually a good pick for The Good Place to say that it was a very mediocre movie, because it had so many stars that you could be entertained by the fact that you just are seeing those stars in it. But definitely not a good movie as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, overall, hats off to the writers of The Good Place.
Yeah,
I mean, at the end of the day, that's who our hats are off to.
Pretty much nailed that. So that's
yes,
our next movie. Well, I'm excited because you've been talking about it, but you haven't said it.
Here's the thing.
What?
I'm giving you the choice.
Oh, jeez.
So I picked up an $8 movie from Menards.
Yeah.
It
was $8?
I know. Probably the most money I've personally invested in this endeavor.
Me too. Well,
however,
no, I bought the microphones.
I know. You bought pretty much everything else, but you have 151 mil, so I'm not too worried about it.
Well, I have 75 because we split it, but
oh right, yeah.
No, 76.
Math.
But anyway,
let me talk to someone.
Okay.
We can either do that movie, or there's a known documentary, that I know is good. I am in my free time rewatch it, probably every couple months.
What?
I love this documentary so much that I rewatch it very frequently. So I'm
Is it
giving
about
you
cars?
the choice. Yeah, it's about cars.
Okay.
I'm giving you the choice. If you would like to watch something that I knowingly know is good, or if you would like to go into this crazy endeavor that neither of us have seen and could be just as much of a fever dream as what we just watched.
Wow, that's like
you get the choice. It's my pick, but it's your choice.
That's like not fair. You need to make the decision.
No.
Okay. All right. So I think for the next one, especially because you're going to be gone for a while.
Yeah.
You're going to be on your own. What are we talking about?
We can't even remember the Cannonball Run. That's a second gear laugh right there. That is Exhibit A. That is a textbook definition of a second gear laugh. Jeez, we already forgot the title of the name. It's only been an hour.
We literally stopped talking about the movie for 5 minutes. 5 minutes and we can't remember the name of the movie.
I couldn't tell you a single thing that happened. A chimp flipped him off and then ejectocito, cuz.
That would be Bella's. Her rant on it. Yeah, that is going to be your next week is going to be your
Do you want a safe bet or do you want a completely because if we don't do the Menards DVD purchase, I'm still not telling you what it is.
Well, that's fine. You don't have to tell me what it is. Let's do the documentary.
Okay.
Let's do the documentary because it totally changed from what we're talking about now.
Right.
So
it'll be a big change.
All right.
And it's something people have been asking for.
Okay,
so
good.
It's the final Top Gear adventure that they go on.
Oh, that would be fun.
They go to Patagonia,
which
is South America.
Yes.
Do you know anything about this movie?
No, I know nothing about it.
So it's 2 parts. It's an hour on either end. It's just like it's a 2-part.
Oh, okay,
so
fine.
Yeah.
That's not a big deal. Yeah.
We will have to get like Motor Trend on demand, I believe.
Okay.
Which I think they have like a 7-day free trial.
Wait, how did you see this if we don't have it?
So it's on Amazon. I've seen it. So Amazon used to host Top Gear, and Top Gear used to be on Netflix. It used to be on Amazon for free, and then basically Top Gear changed hands, and now it's all different presenters.
Yeah.
This is the last one with the good presenters.
All right.
And they take V8 cars down South America to Tierra del Fuego, which is basically the end of the earth, which is the very southern tip of South America.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So they take V8 cars down on this trip, and they like make fun of like the Sundance Kid and stuff like that.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh wait a minute.
Have you seen it?
I may have seen bits and pieces, not the entire thing. Do they go into the mountains, like really high into the mountains, like way up high?
You might be thinking of another one in South America where they had like SUVs.
Maybe, and then they took them all the way down to the beach.
Yeah, that's the SUV one. That's a different one.
All right, totally different.
Also another great special.
Okay.
But people have been asking for Top Gear.
Good. All right.
People asked us to do a top 10 favorite Top Gear episodes.
Oh, I can give you one for sure.
What?
The James Bond cars. They did the James Bond cars.
Well, that's a whole... We could do that.
We could
do that whole
right.
movie.
Yeah, that would be perfect.
But that's not an episode.
No, you're right.
People ask for top 10 episodes, and I'm like, that would require us to watch more than 10 episodes.
Yeah,
and I'm like, I don't think we have time for that.
Yeah.
But this is probably my favorite one of the trio that they did this trip. It has very, very real-life ramifications at the end of it.
Really?
It made national news when it happened.
Really?
And I'm not going to spoil anything else for
it's
you.
good. Interesting. Okay.
All
right.
It's very good. It's sentimental. It's touching. I tear up every once in a while watching this one. Jeremy Clarkson has a really cool part in this one.
Okay.
He goes on a little story, which is cool.
Okay, good.
So that's it. So we're gonna do a Top Gear, the Top Gear Patagonia special.
Yeah.
Both parts.
All right.
Next episode.
All right. Maybe I'll take more than one notepad, one sticky
more than
note
one sticky note worth of
notes. Yeah, that sounds good. All right, so we will do that.
Yes.
And someday we'll watch this mystery bin.
That's actually seriously sitting behind me.
Oh, it is? Okay.
It's right behind me. You can't see it from where you are.
I can't see it.
I have the DVD here, but you'll never know.
No, I'll just surprise me on that.
Okay,
it's not fun if it's not a surprise. But then I have my pick for after this one.
Wow, okay.
I don't.
Right.
No, I don't have it.
Oh,
But I mean, I'm just saying it's my pick after.
oh
this
yeah. I
documentary.
thought you already knew. I was like,
no,
okay,
no.
okay.
I have no idea. I have no
All right.
idea.
Well, thank you guys
All
so
right.
much for listening. You can listen on Spotify if you aren't already. And that's it. Thank you guys for listening.
Yep. Thanks. Bye-bye.